Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be continuing into part 3 of What If Bardock and King Vegeta Were Brothers. If you haven't seen part 2, there is a title card where you can go check it out and see what happened in the last part. But today we'll be continuing where we left off in Dragon Ball Z. What will the Z Fighters do to prepare for this future threat? How will the brothers reunite with Bardock now knowing Vegeta Sr. is still alive? Will the combined forces of the Z Fighters and the Saiyans be enough to take down Broly? If y'all are interested, I own a Discord server for anyone who wants to join and talk more about Dragon Ball with me and other viewers. Maybe give out some of your own ideas of what ifs, and maybe in the future I could do them. Check the link in the description down below. Today's question of the video comes from Pyro6870. What is your favorite episode from any of the Dragon Ball series? If that's too broad of a question, then what is your favorite arc from the entire series? So, favorite arc from the entire series would have to go with the Saiyan saga. I know probably maybe a basic choice, but I think that's where my favorite art style of the show took place during the entire of Dragon Ball. I know during the airing of Dragon Ball Z, the animation got better, but the style that the Saiyan saga and kind of like the Namek saga had, it was just my favorite style visually. So that ended up becoming like my favorite arc out of the entire Dragon Ball series. Now for my favorite episode, I'm pretty sure this was filler. But it's a few episodes. It's like a little mini arc. But that's when Gohan was in high school. And, they show like a normal life for Gohan for a few episodes. And he became the Great Saiyan Man. Just like, some scenes of him at school, him playing baseball. Those are my favorite episodes. I know it's kind of a weird one to say. But it was nice to see like a normal setting for an anime like Dragon Ball. Where it's like a lot of fighting and a lot of stuff that's not normal everyday things. So seeing like a little bit of a slice of life for Gohan's perspective in the Dragon Ball Z world was a pretty nice thing to watch, and I enjoyed it, even if it's not really canon. So thank you so much for your comment. If you want your question to be featured in the next video, just comment down a question you would like for me to answer, whether it's about Dragon Ball, another anime, or personal, and maybe you'll be lucky enough for your comment to be featured in the next video. Without further ado, let's dive into part 3 of What If Bardock and King Vegeta Were Brothers. Where we last left off, Bardock and the others were warned about the potential major threat of Broly. Bardock was also left stunned after hearing the fact that his brother is still alive, but wasn't so sure on how he could find him, as the universe is a huge place to search. As then Goku would tell Bardock about the Dragon Balls as they could ask Shenron to bring his brother to Earth. Quickly gathering the Dragon Balls, they would wish for Vegeta Sr. and his son to be teleported back to Earth. They would be transported to Earth, and to their shock to see Bardock and his family still alive, which Vegeta Sr. and his son were happy to see them. But Vegeta Sr. would be confused on how he was brought to this planet, but quickly would yell at Bardock for bringing Broly to their planet, as now it is destroyed. Bardock would get another idea, going to Shenron to wish to undo the destruction of planet Vegeta, which Shenron was able to do, leaving one more wish. Note, with Kami being stronger, he would upgrade the Dragon Balls to be able to make 3 wishes, and to remove the 2-year time limit on the time chamber. Bardock thought what to do, as he could wish back all the Saiyans that perished under Broly, or wish to learn about what Broly is up to. But he ended up deciding to bring back the fallen Saiyans, as he believed it was the right thing to do. Bardock would tell his brother everything about the Dragon Balls, and how a future version of himself went back in time to warn them about the threat of Broly, and how he killed them all. So with this knowledge, they would begin to train to grow as strong as possible. Before we progress with this current timeline, we will go back to the future timeline and discuss how things went down. Obviously, Goku would have died of the heart virus in age 764. For the next 3 years, the Z-Fighters would continue on living their lives. Bardock, Kami, and Raditz would continue training during the 3 years. Also, sadly, during the 3 years, Grandpa Gohan would pass from old age. After experiencing the death of his father and great-grandfather and honoring of them, Gohan began picking up on his training so that he could feel closer to them. The 4 were the only ones truly training, as the humans began to live a normal life, or trained minimally. In substitution of the androids arriving, Broly would arrive on Earth instead in the age 767. This caught Bardock and Raditz off guard, seeing Broly once again. All the Z-Fighters would sense the power of Broly, as it was something too immense. This Broly has been berserk almost continuously for years, and that means his power has been growing for a very long time. Kami knew they couldn't beat him, and Broly is too strong to be affected by the Dragon Ball's magical powers, so he would contact all the Z-Fighters, telling them his plan to stop Broly. Everyone would gather to meet Broly, and they were all pretty nervous, especially Raditz, as he was almost completely frozen, still scared from their last encounter with Broly. Bardock would warn everyone about how powerful Broly is, and they cannot stall nor hesitate against him. With that said, everyone would charge at Broly, trying everything they can do to stop him, while Kami would prepare to perform the evil containment wave. However, they all underestimated about how much Broly has grown. The humans didn't last long, as a singular punch was enough to end them. Bardock, Raditz, and Gohan all tried to contain Broly, but that was proving to be a struggle, as even with Bardock, who is the strongest Z fighter, was nothing but a bug to Broly. During the fight, Bardock got another vision. Seeing Broly standing on top of his dead brother's body, he would be frozen, learning that his brother is still alive, but also soon would be killed by Broly, as then he would be sent crashing to the ground by a punch from Broly. Broly would then bring his focus to Gohan, but that is when Raditz would attack Broly, pushing him back. He then turns to Gohan, apologizing to his nephew, as he asks Gohan to look out for Trunks for him, shooting a ki blast, sending Gohan crashing into a building, but far away from the battlefield. With just Raditz, he began fighting Broly, but it was shown that he wasn't doing anything against him, as Broly would manage to grab a hold of Raditz, and would then shoot a ki blast, piercing Raditz through the chest, killing him. But this gave Kami the time he needed to capture a still Broly, with the evil containment wave sealing him. Kami used all of his life force to seal Broly, but he would see that the bottle he used to seal Broly was slowly cracking. Bardock would run to Kami, as Kami warned Bardock that Broly wouldn't be sealed forever, as Kami would die as well. Bardock would look over to just see the dead bodies of the Z fighters, but once he got his eyes on Raditz, he would rush over to him, only to see his lifeless body. His fear grew even more when he couldn't find Gohan, until he would show up looking pretty beaten up after taking Raditz's attack. They were both pretty beaten and saddened over the fact that everyone died and they did not have any means to bring them back. Bardock broke the news to everyone else, as Bulma was broken hearing her husband had died, but it was worse for Gine, as now she had lost both of her children, not too far apart either. Chi-Chi would try to convince Gohan to stop fighting, but Gohan wasn't going to allow that, as now it was up to him and Bardock to save their planet. So for years they would train as much as they could. Bardock even managed to tap into Super Saiyan 2 form while training with Gohan, as he himself finally tapped into the Super Saiyan form. However, no matter how much stronger they get, Bardock doesn't think it's enough, because he keeps getting the same vision of seeing his brother dead over and over again, making him think he can't change the future. Bardock and Gine were in a rough spot as well, as Gine was not well after losing her two sons. She would spend her time with Chi-Chi and Goten trying to recover, but it was difficult. But with Goten around, it did help her, especially since Goten looked a lot like Goku. Goten and Trunks would grow older, being a 9 and 8, as they would like to join Bardock and Gohan in their training, but their mothers refused them without giving them a reason why. But they would sneakily go out to join them in training, as Bardock would tell them about their fathers and the Saiyan race. They would have Super Saiyan at their young age, but Bardock never thought it would be enough, still getting the same visions. We would jump to age 780 when Bulma would finish making the time machine, 4 years earlier than when she did it in the History of Trunks movie, as they were constantly attacked. The seal on Broly was close to breaking, so that is when Bardock would take the time machine to go back in time. Now with that discussed, back to the present timeline, everyone would begin training, the Saiyans sticking together with even Gohan included. For the first year, they would train intensely, with even taking turns going into the time chamber. Bardock would go in with Raditz and Goku in separate times, Vegeta Sr. would go in with Bardock and then his son, and Raditz would go in 2 more times, once with Vegeta and once with his younger brother. Gohan during the first year would also tap into the Super Saiyan power, but not hop into the time chamber. After that, they wouldn't use it again, as each went twice and Bardock went 3 times. And they aren't trying to age up too rapidly. But after the first year, when the Dragon Balls recharged, they would summon Shenron to bring back all the Saiyans to Earth, as they plan to train their army, as Broly is a huge threat that they need everyone. And they would also use another wish to give back the years that they lost in the time chamber. They didn't know what to use their last wish for until Vegeta Sr. stepped in, asking Shenron about the Super Saiyan God, wanting to know how to summon him. Everyone was confused, as they didn't know what the Super Saiyan God was besides Bardock. Vegeta Sr. said that if they are facing a Saiyan that is considered to be a god, then maybe they need one as well. Learning about the ritual, then, they had to decide who would be the Super Saiyan God. Now technically we can have the main crew all become Super Saiyan gods and just have an army of Super Saiyan gods, but that would be a bit much. So Bardock would just be the strongest one, and he would end up being the Super Saiyan God, even if it did make Vegeta Sr. having to swallow his ego. But for the other 3 Saiyans, they didn't complain, as they would all rather earn the form than be given it, which Vegeta Sr. did think so as well. Taking a pause on the Saiyans, we move over to Kami and the humans, as currently they are all on King Kai's planet. Kami pulled some strings in the other world to allow all of them to go train under King Kai, to grow stronger, so that they can become more of use when Broly arrives, as they do know how they all perished easily by Broly. And knowing this, they are more motivated to train under King Kai. They would spend their time learning the Kaioken, while Kami would also learn how to use the Spirit Bomb. With the gravity on King Kai's planet not affecting them, as they already trained in higher gravity, they would spend the first year learning the Kaioken and trying to perfect it, After the year passes, they would return to Earth and join the Saiyans training under them for the 2 years they had left over. Once the 3 years have passed, everyone stand ready for Broly to arrive. Now when it comes to strength, I'ma just put it in order from strongest to weakest up on the screen. Strongest being Bardock obviously, then going down would follow, with Raditz, Vegeta Sr., Goku and Vegeta being on equal standing, Kami, Gohan, the humans, and the rest of the Saiyans. The day would come with Broly arriving on Earth, but this time he is greeted by an army of Saiyans wanting revenge for what he did to them before. Broly was still as strong as he was in the future, but is now facing an army of Saiyans who were training for 2 years, and a fully prepped, much stronger Z Fighter team. The Z Fighters would try to come up with a plan, but Bardock would just rush in, transforming into his Super Saiyan God form, wanting to end this quickly as he did not want to fail again. Bardock would take the front line, taking on Broly, and with his Super Saiyan God power, they seemed to be on even playing fields. Maybe Bardock being stronger than Broly for now at least. Broly was getting beaten pretty heavily and this was not sitting well with him. For the first time in his life, he was being overpowered and he did not like that, as it made him angrier and powering up even further. He would begin charging up and shooting ki blasts everywhere, as Bardock commanded everyone to protect the Earth as he didn't want a repeat of Planet Vegeta. The Saiyans tried reflecting Broly's ki attacks, with some being able to but others dying to the attack. Bardock would see that the gap between him and Broly was growing smaller by the second, as the others could sense it as well. No, the Z Fighters could sense God Ki. After training with Bardock for 2 years, they would learn how to sense God Ki, like how Vegeta obtained their God form without the ritual in Dragon Ball Super. The Z Fighters would all begin to jump in to aid Bardock as Kami would sit back charging up a Spirit Bomb. All of the Z Fighters would jump Broly, attacking him with all the techniques that they had. Even though it didn't hurt Broly, it was distracting him from his biggest threat, Bardock. Broly was getting angrier by the second until he powered up, pushing everyone back, showing that Broly transformed into his full power Super Saiyan form, as he began fighting back as everyone was now getting beaten. No matter what was thrown at him, Bardock would get another untimely vision, seeing himself fighting what seems to be a purple cat in a blue form. Snapping back, he would go back to fighting Broly, now being the only one who could even deal any type of damage to him. Kami would be done with his Spirit Bomb, and this Spirit Bomb would be powerful, given the fact with how many strong fighters are on Earth to help by giving their energy. With the attack ready, Kami would ask the Z Fighters to stun Broly for a short while. With everything at stake, they would all work together in order to keep Broly still. This is where the humans would come in, as Krillin and Tien would use a Kaioken powered solar flare to blind Broly. Then Kami would convert the Spirit Bomb to compact it, to make it smaller so that it would move faster. But it was also very hard to keep it under control until he threw the attack right at Broly. Everyone would back away to not get hit by the attack, but before it could hit Broly, he managed to recover from the solar flare and barely manages to dodge the Spirit Bomb, to the shock of everyone. Until Bardock would appear in front of the Spirit Bomb as he was trying to deflect the Spirit Bomb back to Broly, but he was struggling a lot. As you can remember, the Spirit Bomb wouldn't hurt someone who is pure of heart, which Bardock isn't really pure, but he isn't evil either. He slowly begins to fall back trying to push the attack, but he is failing, until Goku appears behind him giving him a hand, and with Goku's help, they would reflect the attack sending it back to Broly, as he wasn't paying attention and gets hit by the Spirit Bomb, being sent flying into the sky as a huge explosion erupts. The Saiyans cheer as they believe that Broly is actually finished. Away, future Bardock would arrive to the present time as he wanted to aid them with fighting Broly, but was stunned to sense all the powerful keys that was on the planet. He would fly over to see the army of Saiyans and all the Z Fighters still alive, including his son, Goku. Future Bardock would fight up Bardock and Goku, asking if they defeated Broly, as they believed that they did. Future Bardock was also confused on why he couldn't sense Bardock's ki, and asked what was the new form, as Bardock explained to him that the myth of the Super Saiyan God was real. Future Bardock was about to go visit this timeline's King Vegeta, but then Broly's body would crash down to the floor as he is pretty hurt, but finally is barely unconscious. Future Bardock would lose it, transforming into his Super Saiyan 2 form, charging up an attack ready to end Broly. The army of Saiyans were cheering for him to end Broly as they didn't know that this was Future Bardock. Even King Vegeta was telling him to end him, but he knew who Future Bardock was. Future Bardock was ready to end him, but Bardock tried to tell Future Bardock to not kill him as it wasn't Broly's fault, but Future Bardock did not hear him until he heard the voice of his youngest son. Goku asked him to spare him and even told him that he wanted to help Broly to learn to control his power, as he could be a good rival and helpful in the future against bigger threats. Future Bardock froze as hearing the voice of his son he lost over 2 decades ago rung in his ears. He struggled to finish Broly as he wanted to badly, as he could only think about everyone he had lost because of Broly. But he would listen to Goku as he was about to power down until Paragus showed up, yelling Broly's name. As Future Broly saw, Broly's body began to bulk up, so quickly, Future Bardock would kill Paragus shooting a ki blast that goes through him, and Broly would calm down again as he wouldn't have had his father to bring him back to his insanity. After the threat being beaten, the Saiyans wanted to return back to planet Vegeta, which they done so. King Vegeta would ask Bardock if he wanted to return, but Bardock decided to stay as his family is here, and he also didn't want to keep fighting for the mantle of king. But they would want to keep in touch in case of any problems that may come up for either of them, as King Vegeta planned to try to fix the damages that Broly caused in the universe, as he's still unsure of keeping Broly alive. Vegeta would return to planet Vegeta, a bit saddened that Raditz is staying, but he did make a family here so he understood why and promised to come visit them from time to time. Now for Future Bardock, as Broly is still a problem in his timeline, so he would hop in the time chamber with his present self to train after having the Super Saiyan God ritual done to him. As they would spend 2 years in the time chamber, as Bardock would teach himself how to handle the God form, while Future Bardock showed his past self the Super Saiyan 2 transformation. After his training, he would return to his timeline, going to his Gohan as they would train for the leftover time they had in the time chamber, spending 3 years in there straight. With Gohan's potential, he grew a lot, training with a Super Saiyan God Bardock, as he would learn how to sense God Ki as well, and learn the transformation himself. They would continue training out of the time chamber until eventually Broly would break out of the containment as he would try to cause more chaos. But he would be met with Bardock and Gohan both in their Super Saiyan God form, and much more powerful than when he first met them. With all these years of training, they did, and with the help of the past obtaining the Super Saiyan God form, Broly wouldn't stand a chance, especially when there are 2 powerful Saiyans way stronger than him. With them knowing about his always growing power, Bardock and Gohan wouldn't waste time in ending Broly, as in this timeline, he wouldn't be as lucky as his past self. With Broly being taken down, they can finally live their lives in peace, but would have to live with all their loved ones that had died. Back to the current timeline, with everyone alive, they would continue training during the 7-year time skip. Gohan would still focus on his academics, but Goten and Trunks wouldn't, as they would focus more on training and enjoying that more, with the entire Sun family training together. Bardock, Goku, Raditz, Goten, and Trunks, with Goku and Raditz wanting to learn the Super Saiyan God form. The humans would join in from time to time, as Kami would join in a lot, wanting to grow even further. And with Kaioken, he can definitely slowly catch up because of how his biology works, allowing him to push his body even more with Kaioken. Goku would also spend a lot of time with Broly trying to get to know him, and begin helping him with trying to control his anger and his immense power during the 7-year time skip. They would have a good friendship, and that did help Broly a lot since Goku was the only one who showed kindness to Broly, as the others were afraid of him. But he would also befriend Goten and Trunks, as they would spend a lot of time with Broly in secret, as they didn't actually know what went down with Broly when he was a threat to the planet, as they were still little when it occurred. On planet Vegeta, King Vegeta and his son would work on trying to undo the damages done by Broly, which was hard since Broly destroyed many planets. The Saiyans began working with the Galactic Patrol in order to solve the universe's problems as a way to repay for what Broly did. And that's going to leave it up for now. Tell me how y'all think about the third part and how I did with the continuation of Dragon Ball Z in this What If. Would the decision of Bardock sparing Broly come back to bite him? With Super Saiyan God being revealed really early on, will Buu still be a threat? Will King Vegeta be able to fix all the damages that Broly caused in the universe? What could have happened differently? Leave your thoughts down in the comments down below. I would love to hear them. If y'all are interested and enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to be alerted whenever I post another part. Thank y'all so much for watching, and I would see y'all in the next part. See ya.